Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're digging into a real workhorse from Mobile Suit Gundam, the origin.
That's right, the Columbus-class transport ship.
We've gone through, articles, forum chats, even some model comparison videos, really trying to get a handle on this ship.
And it's important, like you said, we're focusing specifically on the origins take here.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not just a rehash of the 79 show. There are some pretty big differences.
Especially the dimensions, right. We'll get into that.
Definitely. So, okay, originally, this thing was designed as a mass supply ship for the Earth Federation forces.
Pure logistics, just hauling stuff around space. That was the idea.
But then, well, the one-year war kicks off.
And everything changes. Necessity basically forced them to adapt it. Suddenly it's carrying space fighters.
And then mobile suits, when those started rolling out.
Right, which is a major shift from just hauling, fuel and food.
And here's a little detail I found interesting. In the origin, the design's credited to Astrays.
Oh, yeah. That is different. Not Tamino and Okawara like the original series.
Yeah, it kind of suggests maybe a slightly different design philosophy or even tech lineage in this specific continuity.
Interesting point. It makes you think about how the origin tweaks the established lore. So,
diving into that origin timeline, the ship comes out of the Year 70 Armament Reinforcement Plan.
UC-0007, Leo. So that's actually before the one-year war started.
Right. Shows it was part of this bigger logistical buildup by the Federation, even before hostilities.
And its main job description was just supply ship. Yeah. Very clear focus initially. Not combat, not even specialized troop transport, really.
You see it in the design. That catamaran hull. Big cargo bays slung on either side.
It's all about maximizing that cargo volume, like a big old space freighter.
And the fact that the EFF decided to refit these existing ships instead of designing dedicated mobile suit carriers right away.
Well, yeah, that tells you something about their resources and priorities early in the war, doesn't it?
Adapt what you have first, maybe.
Pretty much. Adaptability seems key. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the specs for the origin version.
Right. Official title: Space Transport Ship. Used only by the EFF.
And here's that size difference we mentioned.
Get this. Total length is 230.1 meters.
Whoa. Okay, compare that to the original 79 version. What was that?
Just 145 meters. So this origin version is significantly larger, almost 60% longer.
That's huge. And the width, 137.1 meters height, 95.6 meters. It's just a much more substantial vessel overall.
Definitely suggests more carrying capacity, maybe more room inside for those later modifications.
Makes sense. And visually, you still have the catamaran look, but the origin adds things like modified vernier thrusters up front.
Yeah, those little maneuvering jets, maybe tweaked for better handling despite the size.
Could be. And there's that visible landing gear and the big front hatch for docking and resupply.
Which we actually see used, like when they resupply the white base.
But what's still missing is significant onboard weapons.
Right. It still relies heavily on its escorts for protection. It's not meant to fight.
Its power is in what it carries, not what it shoots. Still fundamentally a transport.
So, operationally, in the origin, its main job is moving all that vital stuff. Ammo, fuel, food, spare parts.
Including parts for mobile suits, which becomes critical.
And it could resupply in different ways, deploying the sides of the hull somehow, or using that front hatch we mentioned. Versatile.
But then the war forces those adaptations, like at the Battle of Loum.
Yeah, Loum. Big moment. They were pressed into service carrying FF-S3 Saberfish fighters.
Basically acting as improvised make-do space carriers.
And later, it's hauling the Federation's own mobile suits, the RGM-79 GMs and the RB-79 Balls, to the front lines.
But these conversions weren't perfect, were they?
No, not at all. They didn't have proper launch catapults or dedicated recovery systems.
So launching and retrieving suits or fighters would have been slower. Less efficient than a purpose-built carrier.
And still very vulnerable. No guns of its own, remember.
So the tactic was basically using them as battle taxis, right? Yeah. Get the mobile suits close to the action, drop them off, and hopefully pull back.
Exactly. And the numbers. At Loum, they apparently had about 6 Columbus ships per main fleet group, all loaded up as Saberfish carriers.
Wow, 6 per group. That's a lot. Shows how dependent they were on this improvisation.
Now, the origin also throws in a specific variant we don't see elsewhere.
Oh, which one is that?
The Shark Bay. It's described as a Columbus specifically modified into an aircraft carrier type.
Okay. A dedicated carrier conversion within the Columbus family. That's unique to the origin continuity.
Yeah, there's even linear art for it. And speaking of variations, The OVA shows different hangar layouts, too.
Right, like the hangar in Episode 1 looks different from the one in Episode 6, I think.
Uh-huh. Suggests maybe different refit packages or internal configurations depending on the specific mission or batch.
Makes sense. Customization based on need.
So, service history-wise.
Yeah.
Pre-war, it's a logistical linchpin.
Doing its boring but essential supply runs.
Battle of Loum, it becomes that emergency fighter carrier.
Then throughout the rest of the war, it's hauling mobile suits, resupplying capital ships, just keeping the EFF war machine running.
And you see it pop up across the Origin Saga, the manga, the OVAs, official website pages.
It's consistently there in the background, doing the heavy lifting.
So, wrapping this up.
Yeah.
What's the big picture takeaway for the Columbus and the Origin?
I think it really stands as a symbol of the Earth Federation's wartime adaptability, making do.
Resourcefulness, maybe? Using what they had, even if it wasn't perfectly designed for the job at hand initially.
Exactly. It highlights how absolutely vital logistics and support ships are, even if they don't get the glory of the Gundams or the battleships.
They're the unsung heroes, you could say.
Yeah.
And that bigger size in the Origin, plus the Astrays design credit, it gives this version its own distinct flavor.
It shows how the Origin isn't afraid to reinterpret Federation technology and history a bit.
So, here's something to think about. The Columbus shows how a basic logistical hull can become a critical wartime asset through forced innovation.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. What other seemingly mundane, under-the-radar technologies or platforms, maybe even today, could have that kind of hidden potential? What becomes unexpectedly crucial when circumstances change drastically?